piece, sir.
Thank you, sir.
This guy, man, he's awesome. This yours?
No, this is mine.
This is Wilson Muir, Cinematics Director at
America.
Games Montreal. And Christopher Sean, voice of Nightwing.
Excellent, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. Hungry? Why wait?
Why don't we start? Just go this way if that's all right.
Oh,
Sure.
we usually just.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, Nightwing was, what inspired you for this? Like, any comic stories in particular, any past interpretations of Nightwing? What did you use as your anchor?
That's a great question. I have an image of Nightwing in my phone that I've had for many, many years because it was him hanging upside down shirtless, and I was like, I want that physique. I want to be able to do the abilities that he has. I always thought it was Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond. And then after booking the role, I showed them, I was like, look, I have like a Batman, and they were like, no, that's Nightwing, that's you, bro. And I was like, no, that's Terry. And they're like, no, that's Dick Grayson, that's you. So for like 12, 15 years, I've had an image of Nightwing that I've kind of literally tried to embody.
Right. Okay. Cool.
What have you done to prepare for this role? I mean, it's for you, obviously, what you just said. It's much more than just a speaking role.
Yeah, I actually called up a friend of mine, and his name is Big Bang Mike Olasky. I flew him in from Utah, and he trained with Steven Seagal's personal bodyguard and Bruce Lee's goddaughter's husband, Ron Balicki.
Man.
So I called in Mike, he called in his mentor, his sensei, and Ron Balicki came out, and literally we shot this whole thing, me fighting with the Screamer Sticks, the dual Screamer Sticks, just like Nightwing, just to be able to see if I can handle it. I was nowhere near the shape I thought I was in. But I learned a lot. I learned how much work and discipline that I had to put in, and then I had proper mentorship. Just like in martial arts, you have to have a sensei. I had these gurus, the entire team, Wilson Mui, Patrick, and Ann, and the entire team backing me. Every question and insecurity that I had, they were guiding me properly through.
Fantastic, thank you.
So Nightwing's always been kind of a more positive, upbeat character, but with the death of Bruce, is that affecting who he becomes in this game?
I think anytime you lose a loved one, it's going to shake your foundation. And in this situation, Bruce is much more than just a loved one. He was a mentor. He was a sensei. He was strict. He was tough love, and he was everything. And how do you fill those shoes? And how do you overcome that, right? That hole in your heart. Well, I think with Nightwing's case, he just continued to push forward and try to put that smile on. But with the love of others and the team there that supports, he was able to patch that heart, and he'll continue to do so as he tries himself to don the cowl of the Dark Knight.
Hey. You just went straight in and breathed. That was great.
I blacked out.
So you've done a lot of action in the past, and there was mention of doing the motion capture. How was that for you?
It was a brand new experience. I got to do performance capture up in Montreal, WB Montreal. And again, I really, really look towards Wilson for guidance. Stephen O'Young, he's a stunt coordinator, actor, phenomenal talent. He's been doing many other projects. He plays Red Hood. And Stephen O'Young, I was like, dude, please help me out. And he was like, no. And I was like, please? And he was like, fine. I'm very Red Hood, like, fine, I'll help you. But basically, with the guidance again with Wilson, how does this look? Do you think we should throw punches and kicks here? And Wilson, no matter what we did, he was always finding ways to take our ideas and make them better. And then through that collaboration, we have probably the best game in the world.
I mean, and just to add to what Christopher was saying, like the motion capture, the performance capture, it's a technology, right? What these guys and girls brought to the floor in terms of the character, how they developed the character, that was a solid base for me. Because how we worked is we basically had to make the perfect take. When I have them on set, we're basically refining the take over and over until we get the most purest performance. Because I take that to kind of run with the animator, with the artist, with everything else. So when the base is strong, everything else gets better, right? So
no pressure.
No pressure. They brought their A game, man. They break up. I'll admit it here. I cried in a couple of the scenes.
Excellent.
If he wasn't going to say it, I was.
But that's the emotional tone that we want to hit with them dealing with the death of Bruce. That's a very important thing for us.
And to chime in on that, it does come. It's a completely collaborative thing. I'm just the index or pointer finger on the whole body of work, which is what Wilson and the team have created.
So I'm curious. You have
history of, obviously Dick Grayson is Robin,
Right.
grows up, becomes Nightwing. How do you balance advancing the characters but yet keeping kind of what the fans are expecting?
So that's actually a very good question. Very, very challenging, actually. I mean, for us, we're creating a game with 4 characters. We've been training ourselves to love each character equally, right? Because of their different history, their different lore, their different relationships with Batman. But from the standpoint of us for the storytelling, what we're trying to do is basically tell their version of that story. So we're creating 4 cinematics in one. When you're playing a specific character and you switch, you're going to get that same cinematic, but in the flavor of Red Hood versus Nightwing's version. And there are big differences. We're talking about different dialogue, we're talking about different interactions, we're even talking about custom cinematics that tell that story depending on who you play. And the fact that we're switching it back and forth like that as a player at any point, technically it's quite the challenge, but from a standpoint of the player, and it's going to be something that's going to draw them in when they play that for sure.
What's really funny about that is on set, they were like, "Can we do this, Wilson?" He's like, "That's going to be so expensive. Let's do it."
My producers don't like me that much.
When it came to, when you mentioned the different cinematics for each character, you can try taking different cinematic tones. Obviously, it's an action-oriented game, so like when you look at film, like action films are filmed a certain way as horror films. Did you try to do some of those different thematic themes when you're doing the cinematics?
Absolutely.
To get that extra visceral feel for the players?
So I mean, there's two points to that. Because one point is each character has their own kind of character arc within the game. They deal with Bruce's death in their own specific way, and those arcs are very unique. With their interactions with each other, with a lot of the banter inside the belfry and whatnot, you're going to get these different dynamics of the heroes interacting with each other. The other standpoint of the cinematics for me in all instances was being able to tell the story of the Court of Owls, how they all react to the Court of Owls differently, how they will react to the villains, which I'm not going to ask him, but I'll just tell you, like, some of the villains, they do have unique experiences with each of the different heroes. So that's going to give you a different flavor whenever you play that, and you're going to see. It doesn't have to be like huge differences, but they're enough to be like, if you're a fan or you know what you're looking for, you're going to find it.
Besides Court of Owls, which is obviously a very important Nightwing story arc, what other Nightwing stories did you pull from inspiration for your characters?
Would you like me to take that, or you, Deathstroke? Deathstroke, you want to take that? Deathstroke? No?
Do not listen to me.
Honestly,
No, just kidding. It's an inside joke. No. Deathstroke is not in a movie.
or is he?
I think you should answer that question.
It's tough because the Court of Owls is I can't give anything away because it's a very integral part to Dick Grayson's storyline. In reference to villains outside of that, is that what you're asking?
No, what other Nightwing comic book story arcs besides Court of Owls did you reference from?
Oh, okay. So Scott Snyder's Volume 1, The Court of Owls. Also Grayson, Agent 47. I really read up on that quite a bit. Yes, that's post Court of Owls. However, I was I had the Grayson book for years, just encyclopedia of knowledge, and I just kind of read through that quite a bit. I went online and I watched a lot of Teen Titans to learn his past as well, because I like to make jokes. My hubris is I try to make everyone laugh. Like my main goal is to make someone smile.
Yeah,
and I feel
he's a much lighter character when you compare him to Jason.
yeah.
Which, in all honesty, this is him. This is Christopher, and he's like that on set too. And Steven, who plays Red Hood, is like that on set too. So actually, when I'm sitting on set with them, I'm like, oh my goodness, if Batman were alive, this is the stuff that he would have to deal with. So there's a lot of things that I'm gonna let y'all, like for me, just to let you know, the cinematics for me are layered cake. I don't put a cinematic on the game just because I need to. I want to put in as much Easter eggs, as much context, as much kind of like subtext. He's going to be going through some serious emotional tones in the game.
Yeah.
Not that one, but you know, but these are things that we wanted to explore in the game, and likewise, Robin will do that as well. Batgirl will do that as well, and also Red Hood will do that as well. So for me, that level of intensity that we are going to see in the game, we haven't seen in movies or in comics to that level for me, which is why we wanted to push the bar as far.
And which is awesome. You get 4 unique stories, so you're getting 4 games in one. And then we don't get Batman, now we get 4 awesome games in one.
Were there any challenges when it came to the cinematography and the bringing Nightwing to life that you guys faced and had to overcome?
My flexibility. They really did not want me to continue to film backwards. I was like, can you just face the camera? I was like, fine.
We heard you did a lot of squats.
Yeah, squats. Yeah, long and short story.
Why is he bending down all of a sudden?
I think at one point he was like, why aren't you doing that? Can you add that? I was like, oh, yeah. I don't know. I think the hardest part would be just to make sure that we will always being respectful to Robin, his storyline, to Dick Grayson, everything that he's had. Always be respectful to that, and bring my own type of originality to it. It's hard to be authentic when you've got such a solid base. So much history.
Such a wealth and breadth.
Yeah, exactly. How do you make that your own?
You're so enthusiastic.
Coffee.
Just a small note on that side, just for him. I mean, this is the happier side of him trying to but deep down there's something inside that he never resolved in that game, and you're going to see that when you start playing the game. You're going to see that inner battle that he's going to have internally, which I think is going to be very cool.
Kind of core of sadness and darkness that he has to contend with.
You get it?
There you go. Wait a second.
We need to talk.
You're not just dealing with 4 different characters, but 4 different actors. How did you have to change your approach for each individual to bring out the best performance from that individual?
So for us, it was really about chipping away the diamond in the rough. I use that analogy. We basically take a broad stroke of the scene. We're going to play around on set, and the way that we work, it's not about, we're going to do this and we're move. I'm looking for the purest performance. These guys know sometimes we would hit 20 or 30 takes before we get the overall. All right, that's an awesome take.
16 was max. 16. We never went higher than 16.
But for each of them, it was about them bringing what they wanted, and it allowed them to kind of refine their art. Christopher's awesome. He kind of steers everything towards me and praises me, but I need to praise back to him, because he's they push that performance every time I ask them to. And what you see on screen right now with a lot of the narrative and whatnot, it's pure emotion, or it's something that's going to blow your socks when you take a look at that. It's very powerful scenes, and it's not about just them. It's about them, but also the 4 of them together, the 2 of them together, the 3 of them together. So it's all these different interactions that, as a player, you're going to be pretty.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of pride in your voice when you're talking about it.
Personally, for me, I've invested 3 years to make this as epic as possible, and that journey with the group here, it's been pretty phenomenal, and I'm hoping everybody's going to be sharing the same.
In reference to that, I have so much immense pride because I'm an Asian American portraying Nightwing. It's the first time that's happened. I'm so excited, and I hope to have many other children see that and say, hey, maybe I can be a superhero as well.
Yeah! All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
thank you, guys.
Dude, tell me you still have that Nightwing picture and you can compare yourself to.
Man, How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Awesome.
Hi guys, thanks for joining us. So we have about 8 to 10 minutes here with these 2, and then we're going to rotate. So we have Wilson.
It's Mui.
Yeah. Our cinematics director of WB Montreal. Christopher Sean is the voice of Nightwing in the game. And with that, I'll let you guys ask away.
We're going to go in a circle. I'm going to start.
Yeah, why don't you go this way?
Okay, so I guess more for Wilson, but this is a Batman game without Batman. Do you see that as a challenge or a strength or both?
For us, we're basically in the Batman universe, but we're creating a new game that is away from the Batman universe. We're creating a game about the new Knights, Gotham Knights, and with Nightwing, with Red Hood, with Batgirl, and with Robin. we're basically taking the next step once Batman is not there. So in that sense, for us, it's been a challenge, but it's not tied to the Batman games that we've seen previously.
This is for Christopher. Did you? Nightwing is Nightwing is such an iconic character. Where is he? Maybe, perhaps, without giving, if you can, either where is he at the beginning of the story, or what was it like to play such an iconic character from the games, or from the movies, from everything?
Without any spoilers, he's coming in trying to fill some large shoes with Batman stuff. And how do you, as a person, become the legend that you've always looked up to? How do you do that? There's a lot of insecurity, a lot of fear, as any human would have, because they are superheroes, but they are human. And there's a lot of that story as you go through, as you progress in this game. Each of the characters is going to have that story, but I think mainly with Nightwing, he's gonna do it the sexiest, and you're gonna have a lot of fun enjoying the storyline and progression of each of their stories. But again, I think Nightwing definitely has the largest burden, being Batman's first protege.
Sure. So how does your version of Gotham, its identity, design compare to the Arkham? Different, similar?
Well, I mean, Gotham City for us is a character in itself. We're doing an open world game. We have a lot of systemic kind of activities are happening inside Gotham, and that's going to keep the player engaged and really out there fighting crime. So for us, I mean, Gotham was a different game again. Arkham was a very different game for us, and for us here with Gotham Knights, we really wanted to make sure that Gotham City was a character in itself, and that allows all the different characters, because we have all, Nightwing, again, Red Hood, Robin, and Batgirl fighting crime at the same time. So it's really important that we made that differential.
This one's for Wilson. I don't know if you can even answer this one, but we as fans know that the Court of Owls is going to be like the main kind of bad guys.
Right.
How did you come to that? And are there any other iconic villains that you haven't seen before that we might be seeing in this game?
Right. So I mean, early on in the process, we did work together with DC and Warner with actually Scott Snyder. As you know, is the main writer for Court of Owls. We leveraged that. We didn't take exactly what was done in the comics, but we took that as our inspiration to kind of like build our narrative. So that kind of drives the main storyline. We do have other villains, which I know somebody's going to ask, but we have Freeze. You see a little bit of Penguin, but for all the other villains, that's going to come a little bit later on. So
you can tell him, listen, you're Deathstroke. You can tell him you're Deathstroke.
Do not listen to this guy. He's giving rumors. But you'll see in the coming months and whatnot, the villains that I can honestly tell you are going to be pretty amazing. Yeah.
Another question for Wilson.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's
You
Wilson
can throw
team.
more to him, man.
No. Look, I mean, obviously you're picking up a lot of weight after that Arkham Knight. You know what I mean? You guys got a lot to live up to. What are you guys giving us that's completely different in terms of, like, the gameplay and what we can do different from that game to this one?
Right. I mean, so for our game, we're basically creating 4 unique heroes. This translates into like a lot of different things. Just from the gameplay standpoint, we're talking about like totally different skill trees. They have different animations, like amazing takedowns. We've got the combo takedowns. We've got all these things that are tied to the character themselves. But from the story side too, like from the cinematic side, which is a big responsibility on my side, we've managed to deliver essentially 4 cinematics in one. So when you're playing Red Hood and you're playing your game, you're going to get your version of that cinematic. But let's say you decide to switch to like Nightwing or Batgirl, you're going to get their version of that. And I can honestly tell you, those are 4 very different cinematics, different dialogue, different interactions with the characters. There's also 4 unique character arcs per hero. So they're going to go through their own trauma of dealing with Bruce's death. That's something that's going to be represented uniquely between the different characters. So we're trying to give the player as much freedom and as much likability to each character, because you're going to get the guys and girls that love to play with Nightwing, but we also want to make sure the Batgirls are represented, the Robins are represented, the Red Hoods are represented. Right. Because I mean, and the ultimate goal of things is for all of you to play the game 4 times over, if not more. So
it's 4 unique games in one.
Okay.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting, ready.
I mean, he took that challenge on, and we're doing it. It's amazing.
Been waiting 3 years. I'm ready.
Chris, are you aware of the fan campaign to get Nightwing bigger cakes?
You know, there's a lot of theme songs that I've been sent. Yeah. Cake by the Ocean, ath with the TH, you know, I've definitely seen the campaign.
How big do you think his cake should be?
It's a really good question. You know, I'm not a flapjack kind of guy. I do my squats. I've done my lunges. They've padded me up quite a bit in the filming, so I feel that it's a not exact representation of what Nightwing should be. However, you know what? I know.
You know, he was very insecure when we were doing our performance capture because it was, you know, you're wearing a really tight. But you know, he's pretty. He's pretty.
You know, I'm well endowed in the booty area, so I hope that reflects. I hope that reflects in game.
So my question's more about the game. So Arkham Origins, you hit a lot of Easter eggs. Should we expect Easter eggs in this game, like Calendar Man, you know, stuff like that, or?
So I mean, definitely on the gameplay side, and even on the cinematic side, we put in a lot of Easter eggs for people to find. I mean, they're not going to be to the level of
changing your calendar and all that.
Exactly. But I mean, for the people that are looking, like even within the context of the cinematics, you'll see Easter eggs of things happening in one cinematic, in another cinematic. You'll see Easter eggs of cinematics that are content in the cinematics that might be tying back to something a little bit outside our game, but comes back in the universe. So there's a lot of stuff that us as devs, we want the players to be engaged when they're looking at the story and playing the game. Finding those Easter eggs and be like, you know, hopping online, like, dude, you know what? Was that a whatever? Whatever. But yeah, no, that's something that we definitely put a lot of energy into trying to make it happen.
You have a question? He's with me.
Oh, good.
You had a chance to
you had to go with
there. You could have told him. Going back around there.
Sure. So I know this game has both single player and play with a friend options. Are there any levels that you need to have a friend to do co-op to get through, or can you get through the entire game by yourself?
You can get through the entire game by yourself. The co-op is it's another play style, right? It's actually a very fun experience. I played through the entire game with the other group of directors actually, and I can honestly tell you it was a really fun experience. But you don't need to play co-op to kind of deliver anything. You're just going to get a very different experience than you would a single player.
Who was the worst director you played with?
Actually, they would say I was the worst director. That would be kind of spam, and then I'd be like,
They're like, I'm not. You're the last pick in the dodgeball game.
But you know, to each their
Okay, softest of softball questions. Obviously, Stray came out recently, so I know there's probably no animals. Yes, I know there's probably no animals in this, but if you had to pick a Batman animals or a Gotham animal, what animal would you put in some sort of deals?
That is a.
Oh, snap the socks.
This is my dog. This is my pup. I'm putting Moneypenny, my dog, in the game. Or Nightwing's pup.
Yes.
So I won't say that there aren't any animals, but I cannot say what it is, and I'll leave it at that.
Oh, okay. I was genuinely hoping for a softball question, but damn, all right.
Dude, you gave them that? You gave them? That's good. That's great.
You guys are all here. You girls are here. I want to.
We do capture as Nightwing. Are you trying to emulate a specific comic or like animation, or are you trying to make it entirely new?
You know, I try to stick to Nightwing as close as possible. I had a picture of him for 15 years in my phone. I know more than 10. And I had an image of him in my phone. And when I booked the role, I showed them. I was like, look, this is Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond. They're like, no, that's Nightwing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm portraying the character that I've been watching and trying to live my life by the same type of personality type. Charismatic, optimistic, natural leader. I mean, the list goes on, right? No,
don't feed the eagle, man.
Wait. No, but honestly, like, you know, I try to stay as close to Nightwing as original Nightwing as possible, and pay respect to the character because he's very loved, as well as to the writers and creators of the character.
Christopher, you play the voice of Nightwing. So, if you had to pick one of the other three to play as, who would you pick?
I would go Batgirl because I think She's extremely intelligent, probably the most well-rounded character. She's awesome, and she's overcome, I feel, it's so hard to say. I think she's overcome quite a bit, having a broken back, and being able to, as Oracle, and overcoming that. I mean, Red Hood did come back to life, so I don't know, who's had it worse. But yeah, I think Batgirl, she's awesome.
Yes.
Well, look, the question everybody wants to know: you as Nightwing, Starfire or Barbara?
Oh man.
Oh, okay.
Different phases of his life, right? He's a teenager, he's an adult. Like, as you grow, you continue to find different flavors for your palate. As for me, who's to say Nightwing wouldn't fall in love with someone else, like maybe Red Hood? He's a gorgeous guy.
Well, keep in mind, one is your coworker.
Yeah, just trying to be respectful to your coworkers as well. No, but it's a great question. I think I love the dynamic between Starfire and Robin when he was younger. But again, as he aged, Babs is great. But the storyline with Batman and Babs, I don't know. It's how do you come back from that?
Right.
Let's move forward. Let's find a new area, a new frontier.
Cool. I think we are switching now.
Switching up?
Yeah, he came by one.
Thank you very much.
That's a hilarious question, man. The cakes.
Thank you very much.
Yo, that was great. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I hope you had fun. That's the goal.
Have fun.
Thanks, man.